Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money.
Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Today's conversation is about something very personal yet deeply connected to our social patterns, and that is dating. We are exploring why many Black women feel unprepared for dating, how cultural expectations and societal pressures have shaped our relationship habits, and what we can do to build partnerships that are fulfilling, healthy, and empowering. Let's break it down. Today, I am joined by a roundhouse of beautiful queens as we break down this conversation. I have Dr. Alicia, couples coach, therapist, wife. I have Shalaye Camillo, CEO of Vital Source Realty. I have Nomalanga, 3M's, marriage, motherhood, and money. I have Marye Dean, Esquire, the Wall Street lawyer. And we're going to get into thank you to the chat. Good morning, Booker Williams, Dr. Vibe, Tammy, C. White. We see you guys in the building. Thank you for tuning in on today. And feel free to answer this question in the chat. What did you know about dating when you grew up? So let's jump into this with, and we're just going to go around the room. One thing, what is one thing that you think you know or remembered about dating at a young age? What is something that somebody told you when you were young? What is something that you learned? Or how old were you when you first kind of started getting into dating? Shalaye, we'll start with you. What was like that first introduction to dating?
Ooh, so first of all, in my house, my mother said nobody's talking to nobody until you're at least 16. So we could not have boyfriends until we were 16. Definitely no pregnancy. Okay. My mother, she kind of criminalized, talking to boys a little bit. I think she's just scared for us. She had 4 girls. So wasn't happening.
She said, no, ma'am. Okay, what about you, Nomalanga? What did you learn or know about dating at a young age?
What I remember is there was a lot of caution around, don't anybody get pregnant. But then the other thing was that it was kind of like you're not really supposed to date. You're young. Just make friends, whether they're boys or girls. And the dating part will come much later in life.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay. Marye Dean, what about you? What you learned about dating as a young tot?
Oh my gosh. No. It's funny because I don't know. I mean, by the time I got to college, I remember my aunt, which I so resented that because I actually went to college and came home with a Juris Doctorate degree. But she said, you need to come home with a husband. And they were adamant about that. And I mean, hindsight is 2020. That's where I should have been looking for one. But because the one I found outside of college, I threw him back. So maybe I should have followed my aunt's advice.
That's what the others do. What about you, Dr. Alicia? What advice did you get about dating at a young age?
Gosh, okay. I have to preface this by saying, I was raised by therapists. So unusual experience, I think. I don't remember any conversations about pregnancy or anything like that. I just remember my mom telling me that it's a small world. And she said, I was raised in Gary, Indiana, and you always have to think about your reputation. And she said, one day you're going to grow up and have children, and they're going to meet people that you knew when you were dating. And so what type of conversation would you like for them to have? What information would you like for them, your children to receive about you when you were dating. So she just kind of like, she played mind games with me, and she left it at that. And I was like, oh, okay, I need to start thinking about my reputation.
So how personal do I want to get in this conversation? Dating. The first time my mom had a conversation with me about dating is because I was about 12, maybe 13 years old, and I was on the phone with my neighbor, and he was probably like 24. And so she was like, who are you talking to right now? And I was like, the next door. And she was like, the man? I was like, yeah, he has phone number, I gave it to him. And she was like, oh. Middle of the night, she walks over there, talks to the lady, because he was staying with his mom, talks to the lady, and that man was out of that house. Well, I'm sidestepping some parts of the story. The first time anybody touched me down there was that grown man. That's what I'll say. I'll tell that part of the story. And my mom had to have a conversation and be like, that's not appropriate, nor is it right. She talked with his mom, who was a grown woman, and was like, nah, like, something needs to be done. And so that dude, he was never there ever again. Like, that was the last time I saw him. So that was like my introduction to boy-girl dynamics. I'm like seventh grade probably. But then I turned around, and the first time I ever got pregnant, I was 14. I took my mom to a sizzle not to tell her I was pregnant. And so I struggled with dating early on because I had low self-esteem. I had daddy issues, and I thought that your body was the way to get people to like you. And so from a dating perspective, I had it completely messed up, mentally, spiritually, from how you present yourself, from boundaries, all of it. And it started at a very young age, and it took a really long time for me to get it under control. So when people talk about it's not talked about, I concur. It was only talked about when something happened. So when it went left, it was like, no, don't do that. That's not what you're supposed to do. And then once you get it so wrong, you don't really know how to talk about how to bring it back. You just trial and error it. So let's go into some of these videos. I know I went heavy really early. I probably should have waited, but let's have the conversation. We're going to have the conversation. Let's have the real conversation, right? Let's for real break this thing down. Let's go to our first video, and then we're going to come back and we're going to keep this conversation going.
Today, I want to talk about how Black girls never really got a chance to learn how to date. When I say that, what I mean is we weren't really allowed to get to know boys. We weren't allowed to understand or learn how to be courted, to be treated. We got like some throwaway one-liners that basically boil down to leave these boys alone. Keep them out your pants. You better not come home with no baby. But I just remember being told that I needed to cover myself. I was taught to be ashamed of myself before I was taught how to embrace and love and learn and understand myself. There was all these rules around femininity and womanhood. And then you see the men just, well, you see the men. You see how the men are operating in today's society. Now, hear me and hear me good. I love being a Black woman. We set the standard, baby, when it comes to culture, music, fashion. Black people in general are at the top of the totem pole, but Black women, you give us something and we multiply that thing. We are the blueprint for elevation, okay? I love being a Black woman. But it is dangerous and tiring at times, okay?
So I'm gonna start with you, Dr. Alicia. Why do you think that is that we're not necessarily talking about dating? I have a theory myself, and that is that I don't necessarily know if our elders knew what dating was. I think at one point people knew what dating was. Let's say 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe 50s, 60s, they knew, right? 70s, you kind of bring the drugs come into the community, whatnot. And so by the 80s, folks are kind of doing their own thing, and they're not really talking about the process of dating. Nobody's really courting. But also, when you think about women during that era and what their dating was, a lot of times they turned around and taught their daughters to be independent and take care of yourself. Not so much to date or how to date. And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just curious as to why it might not be talked about as much.
That's very interesting. I don't know how, being independent doesn't mean that you don't want to date anybody. Because I think a good dating experience is two whole people dating, not a needy person dating someone who has these needs too, and you come together and you just feel each other's needs. It really is two whole people dating. And I think that dating comes from, it's not presented in formal education, but it comes from observation. So I think that what we absorb so much is the relationships we see modeled in our home. It's our parents, grandparents, whoever raised us. Second, I think it really does come from our friend groups. What are our friends doing? What is the norm about how our friends are dating? I just came from homecoming last week, and my daughter went to homecoming, and she didn't have a date, so it was just her and her friends. But there was groups of people who would date. They had dates. Some of her friends had dates, and they all went to homecoming together. And then all the singles, they all just got together and dated. And so dated at the homecoming dance and did not have a formal date, what I want to say. So, I mean, I think that, she was kind of bummed about it. She was like, dang, what's wrong? Nobody wants to take me to the homecoming. But, I have a conversation with her about, about what's going on and what that's like for her. And one day she will have a date, and her sister at one point had a date. And so it will happen for you when it's time. So it's not fixing all of these things. It's really just having a place. And I say this a lot, having a place for somebody to come and talk to about dating. Of course, she's got her friends to talk to as well. So it's home life and your friendship circle.
I like that. Nomalanga, you always have a particular view on relationships from the perspective of marriage, right? But what are your ideas and thoughts around dating, right? How does early exposure to love and relationships influence adults' dating habits? For example, if you haven't seen a man and a woman together, or if you grew up in a two-parent household, or whatever the case might be, do you think that influences how a woman dates, or when she starts talking about it or having these conversations?
Yeah, I think a lot of us as parents don't necessarily want to admit that our children nowadays can be influenced by media and friends more than we influence them. And as a parent, I try to keep that door open and because I'm extremely traditional, but I try to keep an open mind about the fact that things aren't always going to be out there in the world the way that I think they should be, and I keep an open mind about that. But if we're talking specifically about dating should be for marriage. It should have a purpose. And before that, when you're younger, you shouldn't really, and like I said, my parents did this. They didn't really encourage us to pair off. They encouraged us to just get to know ourselves and get to have friends of both genders and just enjoy being friends and not try to add the romance into it. And I'm not oblivious to the fact that when your hormones are raging as a teenager, there's that element as well. And you're telling your child, don't be attracted to somebody, but that's all they're thinking and that's all they're seeing. But I think they were very clear about when you're younger, just keep it loose, hang out in groups, get to know yourself, get to know your friends, enjoy the experiences, but don't pair up yet. And then as we got older, there had to be a purpose to it. It couldn't just be something that you do for fun or perpetually. And I'm glad they set that standard.
That's good. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back and keep this conversation going.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
Awesome. There was a comment I saw that you put up here, Black man is fair. Can dating have multiple meanings to multiple people? I think that was a really good comment, Mary. The question, right? Because I think as you're growing up, you are hearing what dating is from your friends and in school, and you're seeing it and you're trying to make it make sense for yourself. And then you're also looking at what's happening in your house and your own dynamics. So you're trying to really like pitch this together. What lessons can be learned from observing family and community relationship dynamics? And do we use those to come up with our own concepts and ideas of what dating is?
Well, I'm going to say this, the lesson that I learned, and I learned by observation of watching it done right, right? My big sister has been with the same guy since I was 15 years old. Well, y'all don't know how old I am, but I'm old. No, they've been together for 30 years. And watching her dynamic, and that's a miracle considering that our grandmother had been married 3 times, our father has been married 3 times, and I got married and divorced once. So I've been taking my time and learning and observing, and because I don't want to be like them too. And so what I noticed with my sister, she had the luxury of my grandmother nurtured her relationship with her now husband. My grandmother kind of groomed. We hear grooming in such a negative connotation, how young girls are groomed. But I think that we groom everything. Entrepreneurs are groomed, billionaires are groomed, millionaires are groomed. Beyonce was groomed to be Beyonce by her father, who was a singer. We are always grooming and nurturing children. And so I saw my grandmother have her hand in and really helping to finish raising her husband, right? And raising the both of them into their relationship. And I've watched them now do that for his son and his wife and their, and their grandchildren. I see them nurture them. He married his high school sweetheart. And so I think that that it works. That obviously works. The parents, you should have a hand on your children, grooming their relationships, friendships, relationships, the whole 9 yards. But my grandmother, she didn't have that that love in her life, but she everything that she wanted in a man, I guess, or what she thought, girl, that's a good man. You love him. You need, work with that man. He can drive the bus, but if you bring his check home every day, your blue collar man is all right. There's certain things that my grandmother would say, and I'll tell you this, and I'll pass the mic, but on her deathbed, and I had already been married and divorced. I got married and divorced fresh out of law school. So when she thought she was dying, she wasn't dying, but she thought she was dying. And so she went around the bed and gave everybody her last words. And so when she got to me, her advice for me was, get you a boyfriend. And that's your last words. You don't want to give me a recipe. You don't want to give me a recipe for life. You want to tell me to get a boyfriend? A boyfriend is the easiest thing to get. Look at me, and so I'm so upset with her. But now, as an older woman, I get it. Get your boyfriend. It's important, I guess.
I love grandma. She said, get you a boyfriend. She wasn't playing no games. Like, you have 2 younger daughters, right? When you're thinking about and maybe you haven't, when will you talk to them about dating? Will you wait for them to bring it to you? Will you take it to them? And when you do, are you going to give them your experiences? Because we have Dr. Alicia, a lot of times when we are giving dating advice, we're doing it from our own experiences. And if they're traumatized, or if we've been traumatized, then the advice and the experience that we're going to give will be based on that. So what are you thinking around what you're going to be sharing with your daughter so that they don't turn around and say, nobody told me about dating?
Yes, that is a very, very great question. And so the way that I approach motherhood with my daughters is I want them to know my story. I want to be totally honest with them because I look back on so many things that my mom said or my mom did, and not that I didn't know her story. She told me bits and pieces, but I didn't know everything. And now just being able to reflect in hindsight, I'm like, oh, like so many things are epiphany, aha moments to me now, because I'm an older woman and I can just imagine or realize what she was going through. And I can put the pieces of the puzzle, the stories, the little pieces of the stories together. I can put them together and be like, that's why, not excusing some things and then excusing some things, right? But coming from a place of understanding, I know why she did that. So I want my daughters to know my story. Age appropriate, obviously, but I want to be very honest with them. And I'm very honest with my daughters now. Like my 8-year-old, she has little crushes and I don't criminalize it. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what do you think about him? Is he nice to you? Is he sweet? Journey be having these boys doing everything, anything and everything for her. Okay. She just has like this charming personality. So I already know that's going to happen naturally for her, and it may happen at a young age where people start to gravitate towards her because of that. And so I am going to let her know that is totally normal and natural. That's something that, so many stories about this topic, but that's something that when I was young and in middle school and I started like liking boys and stuff like that, my mom, she really criminalized it. She really did. I don't think that she meant to do it maliciously, but I think that she was scared because of her experiences that she wasn't really telling me about, because I think she wanted to keep that stuff from us. And that's what they did in that generation. They didn't share, right? So many things that she had gone through and she just did not want me to go through it. So I had a situation too where I was on the phone, it was about 10 o'clock at night with a boy, my best friend, but we both had a crush on each other, right? And I think I was about 12. And she got on the phone. She picked up the phone because back in the day we had the landline, so we had the phone. Yeah, so I got the cord wrapped around. I got it under the door. She picked up the phone like, get off the phone. My heart dropped to my feet when I tell y'all I started out in a sweat. I was so scared, and she was like the next day she got me like, who were you on the phone with? She grilled me. And we weren't doing anything bad. We were just being 12 and 13-year-olds. It was innocent. And we did have a crush on each other. But, my main takeaway is like, don't criminalize it. It's normal. It's normal.
I think you bring up a good point, right? You have to be safe enough. So 2 things. 1, as a young person to go talk to your mother or somebody, you have to feel safe enough. But 2, as the person as the parents or the mom or whomever is giving dating advice, you have to be able to do it not from a place of fear, of trauma, of hurt. And I think if people don't have that, they just don't say anything at all. So when you think about this, this generation of people talking about, my mom didn't teach me how to date, or somebody didn't teach me how to date, did they themselves know how to date? Could they give you something that they didn't have? Could they give you or something positive? If I can't give something good to you, I don't even have anything to tell you. So let's go to our next video, and we're going to keep this conversation going.
So when I say that Black women are not taught how to date, a lot of times when I ask women about dating or stuff, or what they learned about it, how they learned about it, parents oftentimes are like, well, my kid is not dating. I talk to a mother and she'll say, my daughter is a virgin, and then her daughter come up pregnant. A lot of times parents are just telling their kids, don't have sex, or don't be fast, or da-da-da. And that's the extent of their dating advice. But that doesn't tell you what to look for. It doesn't tell you how to find a partner. What is the rubric that you're using for who you're choosing? For example, if you're saying you want a leader, you're looking for a man to lead your home in the biblical sense. Because we get so much of this from religion, and we don't understand how misogynistic and patriarchal Christianity. You want a leader. So a woman will tell me, I'm looking for a strong man, a leader, a da-da-da-da. And then she'll say, he asked me on a date Tuesday. Here come Friday. He ain't said nothing else about it. So I reminded him. Then I called him in that day and said, are we going to still go? And da-da-da-da. How is that a leader? You're calling him and reminding him that he's supposed to be taking you on a date. He's not pursuing you. He's not taking leadership in the courting process, but you're thinking somehow he's going to magically be the head of your home somehow. Like, how do y'all think 1 + 1 don't equal 10? If you're looking for that, that means anytime when you see evidence that the person who you're talking to is not that, you got to be willing to get up from the table. So what should you be looking for? What is the rubric? One, I feel like everybody needs to take some psychology classes to basically understand human behavior and how the mind works. Like, we be falling for the okie doke so much because we don't understand when we're being gaslit. We don't understand narcissistic behavior. We don't understand trauma bonding. We don't understand basic principles. Either go to therapy or take some psychology classes, but have some understanding. Secondly, know who you are. You need to work on yourself, your self-image, your confidence, so you can know what you're looking for and what you require from a partner. Have some requirements. Just because he's a man, just because he liked you, that's not requirements. Have some stuff about how you want your life to go, what kind of lifestyle you want to live. If you want to be taking 2 or 3 vacations a year and he's just happy working his little factory job and chilling at home, then maybe that's not the person for you, because you're setting yourself up because y'all want different things out of life. So when I say that Black women are not taught how to date, a lot of
Well, she has some points. Religion. I believe religion does play a factor, but I have a feeling we're all going to have various opinions on how religion plays out in dating. In the chat, let us know your thoughts. How old were you when your parents talked to you about dating? What are you telling your kids about dating? Is this something that you've experienced? And anyone can take this one right here around religion. Do you feel that religion plays a role in dating, and or has it played a role in how you started dating? Go ahead, Nomalanga. You shake your head yes first. Give me some insights.
The interesting thing is it wasn't my parents. I went to a really nice private school when I was in elementary school, and our headmistress was actually a former nun. Who then left the convent or whatever, and then got married to what she said was a really great man and went on to have a beautiful life. So she could really balance the two sides. But I remember she used to take I can't remember, like the last 2 years of high school, of primary school, of elementary school, those 2 top years, and she'd take and gather us around and have a talk with us. And I remember she used to tell us, she was like, let me tell you something. Sex is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to experience. Don't be afraid of it. Don't demonize it. But then she put context in it. And she said, but I didn't do it until I got married. And it's beautiful within marriage. And if you do it outside of marriage, you can really get hurt and disappointed, and all kinds of bad things can happen. So she really gave it a well-rounded thing. And I took that to the bank. I got through high school and never had sex. I just thought, okay, it's a beautiful thing, but I have to do it within the right context. And I like I said, I'm really thankful for that kind of foundation. And my parents kind of reinforced that.
So I grew up in the church, and I don't think that dating was weaponized in the church. I'm not going to say that. I don't think that for me, I can see where it does, and it has. I know that there are those ultra religious religions where people wear their charity band, and I know that it's there. It was not like that for me, but I can definitely understand how people can use religion. You're gonna burn, you're gonna go to hell if you have there's religion is used and weaponized in a variety of ways, and definitely I've seen it weaponized when it comes to dating. Does anybody else have any experience or conversation around that they'd like to add to?
Yeah, religion always, like growing up Christian, we didn't go to church all the time. We prayed. My mother taught us to pray. She talked about the Bible and things like that, but we weren't Bible thumping, or she wasn't walking around quoting scripture, right? But she did say it's a sin to do that. And religion always made me feel guilty. Y'all, even I was a virgin till I was like 4 months shy of my 20th birthday. So I did not, it was because my mom instilled in me and my sisters, build yourself up. Like, we were always busy. We were always doing things, positive things and stuff like that. So we weren't really in that, we weren't really into boys, like chasing after boys or needing boys' attention, I'll say. It was nice, right? You get it. But it wasn't something that any of us like went after. But like, even into my 20s, premarital sex, I felt guilty. I'll be honest. I actually felt guilty until my mom passed away, which is weird.
Interesting. You know what? You bring up something, Dr. Alicia. Something I was thinking of. Thanks to Black Man is Fair, he said something I always saw dating white teens did in sitcoms, and TV was very much a white construct. Also, something you fake for people's parents, so you can be granted to go out with my parents. A lot of times growing up, people didn't even tell their parents that they was dating. So how would a parent even know to converse, right? So you don't say somebody's calling you maybe, but you remember back in the day, you wear your clothes underneath the other clothes so you can get out the house and change your clothes. Or you'd be like, meet me at the corner, right? Like you didn't even really tell your parents that you were dating. So by the time they found out you was dating somebody, you had already been kind of kicking it with that person. I think that, so I say that to say this, what can we do if young people are feeling like their parents are not preparing them to properly date? Actually, before we get to what we can do, I don't want that question. I don't want that answer yet. Do you think that has played into what we see in dating right now? I don't want to jump the gun. Let's talk about what we see in dating right now. Do you think that folks not being properly prepared to date has led to what we're seeing in the dynamics of Black dating amongst our, I'm not going to say youth, just in general?
Oh, I got notes all over my little page right here. Okay. Properly prepared to date. I don't know, like, what are we supposed to take a dating class? And if we take a dating class, is who's setting up the curriculum? Okay, you tell your parents this, but then you don't tell your parents this. I don't know if dating happens that way. I just think that, okay, parents, I think it's a cultural thing. I've noticed that some cultures just, they just say, do not bring a girl home. Do not bring a guy home unless that's somebody you want to marry. All that other stuff, I don't want to hear about it. There's some homes that believe that way. But there's other homes that say from the time, what'd you say, Shalaye, your 8-year-old, you got to talk to your 8-year-old, who you got a crush on now, who you got a crush on, and just helping that person process some of those things appropriately. So there's conversations you have with your parents that you ain't gonna have with your friends and vice versa. And that's how it is. I think it's always helpful. Why not talk to your parents about what you notice, what you see? Why not share appropriately what's happening? I know my daughter had a boyfriend and they would get into it and it would be so funny to me, and then they would come and talk to me in my office and I'd be like, sit down, tell me what's going on. And I give them little lessons and I'd be like, talk it out. And I would and then next thing I know, they're holding hands, leaving my office. It's cute stuff. So I liked it, but that was that's my household and that's how we are in our household. I'm not saying that one way is better than another. I'm not saying that one religion is better than another, or being atheist is better than not being religious. I think I've seen with a lot of couples, religion is beautiful. With a lot of couples, it's a guide for them on how to treat each other and how to conduct themselves. Religion is a beautiful tool and used to facilitate healthy relationships in many of the couples that I see. Sometimes it can get into some toxic scapegoating, but that's for another YouTube video we could do. But I mean, it just is, I think it's okay. I think we need to just allow all these different ways of being underneath it all. I think, I can't remember who said it, but someone talked about self-esteem and thinking good about yourself and wanting to have a demonstration of healthy interactions, listening, empathy. If you got empathy and you can keep your emotions under control, you're going to have healthy relationships no matter where you go. What lesson do we need? We need to treat our children with respect and not like little kids that need to just shut up and not talk anymore. We need to take the Shalaye way approach and develop a positive relationship with other people. That's what I think.
All right. So I want to get this question to Marye before we go to commercial. Marye, what advice would you give your younger self? Like if you could go back and you wish somebody had given you some dating advice when you were younger or taught you something about dating when you were younger, what would it have been?
Ooh. Girl, if I had that figured out, I'd be married right now. No.
but it's hindsight, right? So I'm asking that question because somebody might have a daughter that they're like, let me sit down and have this conversation with her. So what is something, and anybody in the chat can answer this.
I'm gonna say because I think your relationships, even from a law of attraction, spiritual perspective, you are learning about you. You are healing. You are growing. And so for me, I was abused by my stepmother as a child. And so when I did get married and divorced, I realized I divorced my ex-husband for the same thing while I was a staff attorney at Aid to Victims of Domestic Abuse. Okay. And so, your God sets your life up in such a way that you have the opportunity to heal and confront these childhood traumas. Right. And so I think if there was anything that, if somebody wanted to go back and give little Mary, which is what they really call me, because my grandma was Big Mary. So what would you give little Mary? It would just be love. And I think that in the Black community, we love little boys and raise little girls and then wonder why we grow up with these soft boys and super strong women. And so I think that women, little girls, little Black girls deserve to be loved, coddled, given some softness and a soft place to land, and healing their heart. I just think that they need, just love them. If you love them, then the decisions that they will make will always come from a place of self-love. So that, and my own journey in healing that part has been a journey of self-love. So if anything, just give a hug. That's what I would do. Give a hug.
Give her a hug. Let her know she's seen. Let her know she's valued. Because if she looks to these streets, these little boys, this social media, which we're going to talk about next, what role does social media and society play in shaping dating? We're going to have that conversation next. And it wasn't even like that when I was growing up. I can't even imagine what it's like today growing up and letting that be the bar. But we're going to get it. We're going to continue this conversation. Let's go to commercial. We'll be right back.
Woo! It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So no.
Here are a few of my dating non-negotiables as a man with strict boundaries. These are my boundaries. You do what you want to do. These are mine. Say I get your number, you give me your schedule, and I plan a date. If for some reason you're busy on that date and you can't make it, it is up to you to give me the day that you're free or your next availability. I'm not about to keep asking. That's too close to begging. Play with somebody else. Number 2, if you ask me in our first few dates for nail, hair, shoe money, you're clipped. You're looking for a sponsor. You're not looking for a relationship. Why these things aren't already done? I don't care how much money I got. It's mine that I work for. Don't ask me to do some shit that you're not doing for yourself. Number 3, if by the 3rd or 4th date, you don't at least offer to buy a round of drinks or treat me to the next one, you're clipped. You're not a vibe. You're a bill. I would never let you pay, but at least offer. Make me think you want to pay. And if you forget to say thank you after I done planned and paid for this date, you're clipped. It don't cost you nothing to say thank you. Number 4, if I offer to pick you up or send you a car, you have a 5-minute window to get there. You knew about this date a day earlier and hours earlier. You should have been ready. I have pulled off after waiting 7 minutes before. You don't respect my time. I don't respect yours. Number 5, if we cannot do an active date, all right, tennis, hike, workout. It's clipped. You're clipped. I know me, I'm gonna catch the ick real fast. We just ain't gonna work out, literally or figuratively. Number 6, you like to go ghost for 2 and 3 days. Or I find that you only respond when I text first. You're a clip. Ain't nobody that busy. It'll take you 10 seconds to respond to a message. Hey, busy day, I'll check for you later. That works for me because I don't need to talk to you every day, all day anyway. There is a huge difference from texting, which is mutual, and you just responding. Fuck out of here. Number 7, probably should have been number 1. Poor hygiene. It's gonna be a firm no for me. That breath ain't hitting, if them toes ain't kicking, and if them nails ain't clean, it ain't gotta be done, just be clean. Your ass is clipped. You're a woman. It's the least you can do. And then lastly, I'm a little bit more lenient on this one because I don't expect much. We just started dating. If I see that you just innately lack nurturing qualities, it's clip. I can't teach you how to be a woman to a man. You should not teach me how to be a man to a woman. Can't teach you that. It's clip.
You sound like a woman. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my God, damn!
I like what he was saying. I like everything he said.
No, let me say, what he was talking about, I'm with you. I don't hate what he's talking about. So first of all, I can't hear you when you're eating while you talk to me. I'm gonna start there. Let's get it together, young man. Talk or eat, but let's not do both. And then it's okay and cool to have boundaries. I think what social media does is there's too many people with too many opinions, and people end up walking around confused because they're going to take what this person says and what that person says and what that person says. And if you're young, you're not even old enough to have put your own ideas together, and you're pulling from all these different directions and you don't even know which one is right. You try this one a little bit. If it doesn't work, you don't get the outcome, then you'll try this one, and you just ultimately end up confused. I think social media has changed the game on things, but I think boundaries are good. So we'll go to you, Dr. Alicia. Not so much necessarily what he was saying, but the fact that it's not, historically, women had lists of things that they're looking for and boundaries and whatnot that they have. But now you got men showing up with lists and boundaries and what they will do and what they won't do. I'm going to say because women have messed it up, but that's what I say. What do you think about that? Like, what role does social media play in how we date today?
Man, I haven't been dating myself in a while, but I do know a lot of people who are dating. Well, first of all, this video, I didn't see what was so wrong with this video. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a list. I think, I've worked with people who've had lists, and each one of those try to figure out exactly why that's on the list. Like, why do you put that on the list? And is it a non-negotiable or is it a nice to have? And what is it underneath there that you're afraid of that makes you put that on the list? Because you either operate from fear or love. And so you got to try to figure out exactly what it is. Everything that's on your list, you need to also be able to adhere to your own list of standards. You can't have these lists of standards and your breath is kicking. So you got to make sure that you're living up to whatever is on your list. And I think that would be really nice. The only thing on his list was the thing with nails. Why is that? I don't have my nails done, and I'm a runner. And my feet, sometimes they'll be all messed up. So I don't know what No,
he said they just have to be clean. They don't have to be done.
They don't have to be done clean. Okay, I can see that. Okay. All right. But I thought maybe done. Like you have to have your nails done. That's hard to do.
I think lists are okay.
I think they're great.
Point when they are value added and personal. His in particular list was very pander-esque to me, and it was based on all the negative stereotypes that are happening in the dating world right now. He did not talk anything about the young lady, more so than just what he didn't want to see happen based on what's happening in social media and based on what's happening in dating right now. Nomalanga, what are your thoughts? I saw your face. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of garbage on social media. Anybody can get a mic and just get to talking, he was talking about she has to pay for the date, and I was just listening, and I like what Dr. Alicia said, where she's like, when you hear them mention something, you should wonder what's behind it. What's causing him to say that, And I couldn't find purpose in most of what he was saying. He just sounded like a guy who has a list of things that he wants you to fulfill before he has sex with you.
Well, I think
And
that
it
goes
was
back to
just-
what's happening in the dating world right now.
Yeah.
Women are saying, it goes back to our conversation, what Black women never learned about dating. So right now, women are deep. There's one lady who said, if you don't have $1,000, you can't take me out. There's the, you can't take me to Cheesecake Factory. I don't do Cheesecake Factory. There's the, you have to, I don't do coffee dates. You got to take me to dinner. There's just a lot of stuff that's happening.
Those are all fantasies, though. They're just fantasies. People just
But that's
throwing
what's
stuff
happening.
out.
So when you make a list like that, you're going against the standard. Shalaye, what would be on your list?
Well, I just think that what.
Wait, hold on. Go ahead, finish. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say that I think sometimes we don't have enough modeling. Like enough hasn't been modeled for people. So then they have to operate on just fantasies and just random ideas. Whereas if you came from a home where, let's say, your mom didn't even tell you much, but you have mom, aunts, and grandma, and they're all in successful relationships that have lasted a long time, preferably marriage. They don't really have to tell you, but you get an idea of what it is that you should expect. And sometimes when you're having conversations and you say, he said this or he did that, all of them will, what? He said what? You know, because again, that doesn't meet the expectation that they have for you or for a man. Or some things will say, oh, he sounds wonderful, or whatever it is. So a lot of times it's about what's being modeled. And I think in the absence of modeling, people just throw out random things that just, I wish they knew how silly it sounded. It just doesn't make any sense because it has no purpose.
I always say that you're going to learn one way or the other. So if you have a good model or a bad model, it does not matter. You're going to learn. You're either going to learn what to do and what you want, or you're going to learn what you do not want. So either way, you will learn. Shalaye, what's on your list? If somebody asked you what's on your list today from a dating perspective, what would be on there?
Well, one thing
like your top five things.
Ooh, okay. So about the modeling, I agree with what you said too, because there are people who have been modeled divorced, but they're married. My parents divorced when I was 7 years old. All of my sisters are married and have been with their guys since they were like 15, 16, and 18. It wasn't modeled, but that's what they wanted. And also, I think that in this whole conversation, it gets lost that dating is a negotiation, and it's based on two individual people and your preferences and how that aligns with someone else's preferences in their negotiation. So I think we just get so lost in social media and what everybody is saying, and we all do. We all get a little lost. But dating is a negotiation. That should be put on a shirt. My top five things on my list, as far as when dating, you have got to be kind. You have got to have some kind of, and this goes with kind, empathy, compassion. You have to know how to communicate. I need someone who is emotionally mature. It's been thrown around, what's it called? Emotional intelligence. That's too trite now. You need to be emotionally mature. If you're emotionally mature, you're going to come with some emotional intelligence. You do have to be financially stable. You need to be financially stable. I have seen I haven't dated a lot. I've been in long-term relationships, so I haven't dated a lot at all. But I've seen in just a little bit that I've been dating and my friends that if you are a woman and you make a certain amount, if you get with a man and he's not financially stable, that's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue, not because it should be, but just because of the power dynamics and what that man believes about himself in that moment in juxtaposition to you. Okay. You want three more? You got to be.
That was good. That was good. I want to ask everybody. You gave me like 7.
No, I didn't.
It felt like it was 7. Go ahead. No, if you got some more, go some more.
Go ahead. Next.
Are you sure? Because you got go. Give us 2 more. Give us 2 more, Shalaye. What else you got?
No, I was just gonna say you have to be attractive. You don't have to be Morris Chestnut, but I have to get the feels. Okay.
I got to be attracted to you. Yeah. All right. Marye, what's on your top 5? What's on your list?
You know what? I really am. I like boss men. I like powerful men. So I like a man that's spiritually in tune and a creator. you know, and I think that that sums up a lot of different things. You know, that means he knows how to go out and make money, whether he's job dependent or job free, but he's in control of his life and his destiny. That's important to me because I'm in control of mine, so I can't follow no man who can't be in control of his. That's not gonna work. And I like, you know, so that's one, right? Spiritually in tune. Another thing, financially stable, that's important. I like a man who's financially stable, financially secure, financially proud. A man who, you know, I hate to say this out loud, but I feel like a lot of Black men have low self-esteem. And so I think that, you know, a man having some type of, and I think that comes with self-actualization. Men who have conquered some things in their world, conquered some things in their life, they tend to have a higher self-esteem about themselves. So that's important. He got to be good looking. Well, you know, I've been known to like an ugly man. He got to be attractive to me. Okay.
I hate you, Marye. She said, I did not talk to ugly man.
Yeah, that's important.
I love it. Okay. Nomalanga, what's on your 5? I know you're married, but like if you know, what's on your 5? What are the 5 things for you?
You know, the first thing is, and this has evolved as I got older, I think this man has to be really committed to his relationship with God and his spiritual life. He has to be family oriented. He has to, have a means to be resourceful, generate an income, figure it out. And he has to have some level of compassion. I think somebody said kind, but he has to have some level of compassion about him. And then the last thing is he actually has to understand that, he's accountable. He's the leader. He has to be masculine. He cannot throw that to me. That's his role. And if we agree on that, then we'll be okay.
Okay. We'll round it out with you. Alicia, what's your 5?
You know, attraction is important, but I cannot stand a stupid man. If you ignorant and dumb, you could be cute, but when you open up your mouth and start talking, you start getting less and less cute. I really do want, I like intelligence. I like
sapiosexual.
The what?
Sapiosexual. I'm gonna say sapiosexual too.
Oh, I never really considered myself that sapiosexual. I never considered myself that. I mean, because there's other criteria. That's not the only one, but that's the biggest one.
Is attraction to intellect or smart people, things of that nature.
Yeah, but that's not the only thing. Like, I'm just not gonna date a nerd who is smart and everything. But so it has to be somebody who makes really good decisions with their life. Somebody who has good boundaries with other people in their life, because how are you going to leave room for intimate relationship if the boundaries aren't together? I do know that that's important. And I mean, I want somebody that's similar to me. Like, it would be nice, like lifestyle and culture. It's so, like, I was raised in a certain flavor, certain culture, and I would like to date somebody who's in that category, a professional person, because I'm in this professional world. So I would like somebody who's similar so that we can have things in common like that. So those are the biggest things.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to recognize and know that as you ask this question and as we figure out these lists at this point in our lives, they're very different than when we first started. And we've had to self-teach and self-learn and become self-aware and have bad dating and have trauma and experiences to get to a place where you say, this is what I'm looking for, and letting that be that. We have some stats. Can we go to the stats real quick? That we can call I'm attracted to you. I thought we had some. Okay, there we go. Dating and self-worth. The 2022 study found that 45% of single Black women reported feeling societal pressure to compromise on their standards to find a partner. Financial and Dating said a Harvard Business Review reports that financial independence often influences dating power dynamics, with women sometimes hiding income to avoid intimidation or resentment. We kind of talked about that a little bit. Generational patterns. 63% of Black women say their parents or family's dating relationship lessons affected how they approach romantic relationships today. All right. I think we have one more commercial and then we'll come back and get our final thoughts. Or we can just do final thoughts. Let me know.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
Listen, get connected. The holidays be coming up. You gonna want your people to find you in your business. That being said, we're gonna do our final thoughts. I'm going around and do our final thoughts. You can tell people where they can find you. And so I kind of already asked the question, which was if you could go back to your younger self and tell that person something about dating, what would it be? So I don't want to do that. But what I will say is, if you could talk to a young person today who is beginning their dating journey, what would you tell them based on the society that we live in today? So not go back to in the 90s or the 2000s, but look at dating today in 2025. What advice would you give to our youth and young ladies and our young men who have to date in these terms? Okay. Nomalanga, I'll start with you. We're gonna try to keep it to like 60 seconds or less, but also let people know where they can find you so we can get out of here on time.
So I think I will apply what I've really come to appreciate as an older woman, is that older women have some value to add to younger women. Draw close to older women, whether it's aunties, it's your mom, it's your cousins who are in successful and healthy relationships, and learn from them and bounce things off of them. I think that's really valuable and it's really important, especially if they're in situations that you feel like those look good to you. I think that's important. And I think I've said it before that, we'll go to college to get degrees, we'll go to courses, we'll go to a dentist to get our teeth done and all this other stuff. But then when it comes to the most important decision that you're supposed to make in your life, we kind of just wing it. So you do have to have that guidance. You do have to have that coaching. You do have to have that therapist, have somebody who's guiding you and teaching you and helping you. That's very important. And I'll leave it there for now. My name is Nomalanga. I never do a show without mentioning our charity that we have here in Botswana. I'm the founder and the operator of Pads for Our Girls. We founded this charity because we have girls who have experienced period poverty. They often miss school because they don't have sanitary supplies. So if you feel compelled to do that, please go to padsforourgirls.com and you can donate. Even the smallest amount makes a difference.
Awesome. Thank you so much. What about you, Marye? What are your final thoughts, and how can somebody find you?
Marye Dean Esquire here at thewallstreetlawyer.com. You can find me online at thewallstreetlawyer.com and at The Wall Street Lawyer on all social media. You can also find my movement, blackwallstreet.com, and all social media, blackwallstreet.dotcom. And last words, I'm going to go with, I just saw somebody's Dennis Spraggins. He said, love wholeheartedly. I think it was, okay, too many comments. I can't keep up. Love wholeheartedly and find your tribe. I think that's what it was. Love wholeheartedly and find your tribe. And so that's the advice I would give. And I look to people who have done it and model them.
I love that. All right, cool. All right, Shalaye, your final thoughts on where people can find you?
Yeah, so my final thoughts, I would say it all starts with the love of yourself, right? Self-love and confidence, and building that up within yourself. This is what I would tell young girls, and this is what I do tell young girls. Don't focus so much on the external and getting external validation. Learn how to validate yourself first. I tell my daughter all the time, love yourself first, okay? Everyone else comes after you, even mama, okay? So, another thing I tell girls is, how do you want to be addressed and how do you want to be treated? This is where you start to learn what your boundaries are. because some of this is experience and you just have to go through it. But how do you want to be addressed, and how do you want to be treated by men? I'm Shalaye with Vital Source Realty. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts, and I can help you buy or sell real estate all over the United States, any state, any market. So reach out to me. You can find me at vitalsourcerealty.com or at Shalaye Camillo on IG and YouTube.
Anonymous said, love your man first.
I told y'all he was here.
Yeah, he just came in the room. Okay, Dr. Alicia, what would your
Even the men don't want that.
Listen.
You know what? You need to think about genetics. Okay, think about genetics, because I know I go back to brains and how smart you are. But if you get married to a man that's not that bright, you're gonna have your kids may not turn out that bright. You need to think about genetics. Intelligence is genetics, so we want to have let's keep that in mind. Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm a therapist, so I want to talk about stats. Research shows us exactly something really, really powerful. So the single most important predictor of how successful we will be in adult relationships, whether you're a man or a woman, comes from the relationship we had with our mothers or primary caregiver during critical adolescent years. Yes, that's the time when we're starting to pull away from our families and we're trying to form our own identity. We didn't talk about that. And we're also internalizing what love means, what trust means, what security feels like. If that relationship was secure during adolescence, it allows closeness and independence at the same time, right? So we tend to carry that sense of balance in our adult life. That's research. So anyway, I just want to say, if you're interested in working with me, having realistic expectations about relationships, you can contact me at Coaching with Dr. Alicia.
Awesome. So I'll my final thought is, I think, is pretty simple. And that is, if I could tell this current generation something, what I would tell them is only seek advice from somebody whose relationship or life you feel like you would like to have. I think that young people and people our own age are turning to people who are traumatized, who don't know, who don't get it, who haven't been through anything, and sometimes they're haters, right? So go to somebody that you trust to speak over you, to give you advice, to seek solace in. I am blessed to have good girlfriends, Constance, Tiara, Tamiko, Kim, people that I can call, like, let me tell you what's going on. And I trust them to give me advice. I trust that they have my best interest at heart. And I think that that is important. That's something very different than when I was younger. When I was younger and I would go in advice, I'm throwing up all this content information, and we're all young and we don't know, and we're acting out of pride and ego. And so as an adult, I would have counseled myself very differently if I could go back and speak to myself today. And so that's what I do, and how I talk to this next generation and people my own age is from a space of having their best interest at heart. And sometimes it might be good for them, sometimes it might not be what they want to hear, but being honest. And so that's what I would say. I'm Dr. LaNée Javette. I am a monetization strategist and coach. If you want to make more money in your business, holla. All right. So thank you for joining us today as we explore why many Black women feel unprepared for dating and the influence of societal, cultural, and generational pressures. Remember, learning healthy relationship habits is a journey. The empowerment starts with understanding yourself, setting boundaries, and honoring your worth. Use these insights to create partnerships that uplift you and reflect the love you deserve. Also, I'll add, heal, right? I know I told a little bit of my story. Mary told a little bit of her story. When dating and in relationships, there are things that we take with us. Shed it, forgive it, move past it, release it, be free, get healing. And if you're not healed, don't take those traumas with you into a relationship. Reach out to Dr. Alicia, to talk to a therapist, do something so that you can heal and be whole to date, but also talk to somebody else about that transformation and what they need. Because if you're not whole, you're going to transfer that trauma into this next generation or to somebody else. And then it's a relentless cycle. When we talk about generational curses, we're passing on trauma. So make sure that we're out here healing so that we can help people from a whole place. I'm Dr. LaNée Javette, joined by Dr. Alicia, Shalaye, and Marye Dean. This is Fly Nubian Money. Thank you so much for joining us today. Go out, be blessed, stay black, and be one. We will see you tomorrow. I have
3 things I learned dating black women. I've been dating black women. I'm dating a black woman right now. I'm qualified. No cap. Number 1, they will catch you cheating faster than any other race of women. Black women are detectives, FBI level. If you doing dirt, a black woman will catch you. No lie. Number 2, if a black woman don't find you attractive, she gonna let you know right to your face. If she think you unattractive, she gonna tell you straight up, you ugly, or your breast stink. Or if you approach, she gonna hit you with the no, right to your face. Number 3, they love hard. It's hard to get them to fall in love, but when they do, they riding shotgun. They gonna ride with you through all the bullshit, no cap.
Listen, he telling the truth out here.